call the Tuesday, September 7th meeting of the City Council to order. Please be advised that FATV is conducting audio and video recording of this meeting for public broadcast. I ask anyone in the audience who is recording to please stand and identify yourself by name and address for the record. Seeing none, Councillor Van Hazinga, would you please lead us in the salute to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
President Zarilla.
Here.
Councillor Boschman.
Council who?
Boschman.
Oh, here.
Councillor Kuchar.
Here.
Councillor Di Natale.
Here.
Councillor Fleming.
Here.
Councillor Green.
Here.
Councillor Hughes.
Here.
Councillor Schultz.
Here.
Councillor Squalia.
Present remotely.
Councillor Van Hazinga.
Here.
Councillor Walsh.
Here.
And just for the record, I don't know if she said it already, but Councillor Fleming is also participating remotely. All right, public forum. The public had been advised to contact the clerk's office by noon today regarding any comments of no more than 2 minutes, and none have been brought to our attention. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on any item on the agenda tonight? Seeing none.
Mr. President, before we start the meeting at all, I ask one request that if we're going to speak, if anybody comes to the public forum and speaks, or if the council speaks, if they can remove their masks so we can understand them.
Second.
I see the logic behind that, but I do not know that the current Board of Health order allows for it, and I lack the power to override that on my own initiative. So, unfortunately, we're just going to have to try very hard to articulate clearly. I don't like masks either. It's a pain to wear them, but that's what the regulation is, and there are channels for changing that. Me saying so is not one of them. That said, we have no report of the Appointments Committee at this time. Committee on Records, Councillor Hughes.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this time, all records appear to be in order. Thank you.
Make a motion we accept.
Second.
I have a motion and second. If there is no objection, we will take this under unanimous consent. Seeing none, we have a communication from His Honor the Mayor, one appointment letter for Mr. Mark F. Piermarini as a member of the Water Wastewater Commission, term to expire September 1st, 2025. That will be sent to appointments. We have a communication from Megan Donahue, Director of Fitchburg Redevelopment Authority, who has requested that this item not be taken up by the council at this time. So if there is no objection, we will hold this item. Seeing no objection, it will be held. We also have a communication from the Pension Reserves Management Board, which will be placed on file in the City Clerk's office. I would ask for unanimous consent to take the special presentation out of order later in the meeting so that we can get some of the other department heads' briefer matters handled quickly and let them have dinner. I have spoken to the presenters and they have no objection. So seeing no objection from the council, we will take that at the close of some of our other business. We also have here Chief Martineau to present the annual report of the Fitchburg Police Department. Chief, come on up and tell us what you got for us.
I'm going to leave my mask on. Well, first of all, good evening, Mr. President, councilors, Mayor Di Natale. At our last meeting in July, I was able to pass out my annual report, and hopefully each of you had an opportunity to review it. Tonight, I present to you the annual report from the Fitchburg Police Department. I would like to begin by publicly thanking and recognizing the men and women of the Fitchburg Police Department for their unwavering commitment to public safety in our city. Also, I would be remiss not to acknowledge the hard work and dedication of duty from our emergency dispatchers and civilian staff. Many challenges were presented this past year and a half to the membership of the Fitchburg Police Department, and our membership never skipped a beat once and rose to each and every challenge. During a global pandemic, calls for service at the Fitchburg Police Department increased by 4% from 2019. As a result, your officers in Fitchburg responded to approximately 55,000 calls for service in 2020. That's roughly 1,000 calls per week that your officers responded to. The report breaks down the topics and the calls for service within my report for future reference. A couple of things I'd like to highlight from this year's report. Violent crime in the city did increase by 7% between 19 and 20. However, I'd like to point out that we are still 40% plus below our 5-year average. In fact, several areas of crime statistics, or statistics in general, we are reporting 40 to 50% reduction over the last 5 years. Like many urban police departments, we're seeing increased calls related to mental health services to include those suffering from substance use disorder. These calls are exceptionally trying on personnel responding, needing a greater level of training. One point that I'd like to present to you is in 2020, we had 180 calls of overdose, and that was a 20% reduction from the previous year. And I attribute that reduction as to an increased awareness to substance use disorder, and additionally for the amount of training that your police officers receive as it relates to substance use disorder and really getting rid of the stigma that is associated with substance use disorder. In fact, during 2020, our officers administered Narcan 76 times in the city of Fitchburg. As you can see from our annual report, policing continues to evolve, where community engagement is now the norm and not the exception. Having a police force which is representative to the community that we serve is extremely important. Being transparent and open to change is also equally important, and this is something that's done each and every day by the members of the Fitchburg Police Department. I'm extremely proud of the accomplishments this past year during an extremely trying year. As I stated earlier, COVID-19 really challenged the men and women of the police department, and not once did they skip a beat during 2020, and it's something to be very proud of. For those that are watching at home, our annual report is available online. If you go to the Fitchburg City webpage, you can read page by page of this annual report. In it, you're going to see highlights on our community engagement efforts. You're going to see the amount of grants that we go after each and every year. We're very aggressive on grant writing. As most of you are well aware, we're currently working on over $1 million in grants within our department. There's some fabulous information. It really highlights the hard effort and work that each and every member of this police department does each and every day. As always, to any counselor, my office is open if you have questions or concerns about this annual report. We're open to any and all suggestions from our elected officials, and likewise to the community at large. My phone number is listed on the city website. If any resident wants to talk and have a concern, my office will always take a phone call, and I will get back to you in due time. So once again, councilors, thank you this evening for giving me this time to make this presentation. And if there's any brief questions this evening, I'd be happy to take them.
Councilors? Looks like we have no, Mayor?
Thank you,
Like to
Mr. President.
say a few
Chief, I
words?
want to congratulate the men and women of the Fitchburg Police Department for another outstanding year, and we couldn't be more proud of our police department in the city of Fitchburg, and we are very, very grateful for the efforts they've made over the last 6 years or what have you, how many years, but certainly the last one, and we hope for the same success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will gladly second that motion.
Thank you, councilors. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Next, we have a report from the Public Works Committee. Councilor Fleming?
Good evening. Welcome back, everybody. It's nice to see everybody's, almost all your faces. We met on July 27th and took up 4 petitions. 135-21, Councilor Marisa Fleming to install a barrier at 113 Summit Street to mitigate property damage caused from driver error at this dangerous corner. That was held. Councilor Marisa Fleming to assess the sidewalk located in front of 6 Myrtle Ave, Moran Square Diner, to ensure individuals with a handicap are able to walk, use wheelchairs, walkers, and canes on a smooth surface. Currently, private property is being used as a throughway. This was given leave to withdraw. Petition 14621, Councilors Sam Squallier and Andrew Kuchar to petition the city to replace the broken guardrail boards along the street at 97 Appleton Circle as shown in the pictures. And that was granted. And 089-20, Councilor Bernie Schultz and resident Alex Freeman of 70 Rainville Ave to remove the no turn on red sign at the intersection of John T. Citrino Memorial Drive and Water Street. That was held. Thank you.
The matter is before the council.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
I have a motion and second. If there is no objection, we'll take this under unanimous consent. Seeing none, it is approved. We have orders finance. With the consent of the council, I will waive the reading of this long list. Any objection? Seeing none, I am going to ask for a motion for suspension on 16121, not to take it up this evening, but rather to send it to economic development rather than to finance after discussion with Tom Skrowski about the nature of the order in question.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Anyone speaking on the motion? This is a 2/3 roll call vote. Madam Clerk?
Counselor Van Hazinga.
Yes.
Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
President Zarella.
Yes.
Counselor Boishman.
Yes.
Counselor Kuchar.
Yes.
Counselor Di Natale.
Yes.
Counselor Fleming.
Yes.
Counselor Green.
Yes.
Counselor Hughes.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
Yes.
Counselor Squalia.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. And you're all set, Tom. Thank you for coming.
He wanted to stay.
Oh, you're welcome to stay. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We will get to that in just a moment. First, though, we have 16321, ordered that the Honorable Mayor Stephen DiNatale is authorized on behalf of the City of Fitchburg to facilitate and execute the attached community host benefit agreement with Green Meadow Farm LLC, located at 50 Whalen Street, Fitchburg, Mass. I would ask suspension of the rules on this item.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Speaking on the motion, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Van Hazinga.
Yes.
Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
President Zarella.
Yes.
Counselor Boishman.
Yes.
Counselor Kuchar.
Yes.
Counselor Di Natale.
Yes.
Counselor Fleming.
Yes.
Counselor Green.
Yes.
Counselor Hughes.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
Yes.
Counselor Squalia.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. I was told that the mayor might have a presentation on this item.
No, Mr. Bob Patton is here this evening. He wanted to speak on that. Mr. Patton?
Yes, I had, Mr. Patton had asked me if he should prepare a statement. I told him he only needed to be here on hand in case of
Okay.
questions. But if he would like to speak to the council ahead of time, he certainly may. Mr. Patton?
Can you hear me, President Zarella?
We can, thank you.
Well, first of all, I want to thank all of you and the city of Fitchburg for giving us this opportunity. I won't take up your time. I know you have much else, but we are a family-owned company, and you're looking at the oldest family member, but we are very much involved with all of the host communities that we are in, and we make it personal and we make it transparent. We want to know the kinds of programs that are important to the city. I've already spoken with Mayor DiNatale. Natale. Councilor Esqualia was at our outreach meeting and had some thoughts. We are about youth activities. We like to hire local vendors and employees. Veterans are very, very important to our family for some reasons of inheritance and just respect and honor. And as I say, I can't wait to make it more personal as we go forward. I won't take up more of your time, but we are really, really grateful for this opportunity, and we're going to be a great business partner and neighborhood partner to the community, and we look forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Patton. I will note for the council that this is a location that we have already approved, but the prior owner opted not to go forward with his permits. So this is the same location under the same conditions that we have already approved, just with a different person running it. I also had the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Patton this morning, and personally, I am convinced that he is very sincere in his desire to better the community and to work with community leaders to make this a success for all involved. That said, the matter is before the council. Questions for Mr. Patton?
16321.
Oh, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and second. Speaking on the motion. All right, I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, do we need a roll call for this? I didn't think so. All right, in that case, if there is no objection, we'll take this under unanimous consent. Seeing no objection, it passes. Thank you, Mr. Patton, for being with us this evening, and good luck with your endeavor.
And thank to all of you. I know it's a lot of time that you all give, and just a lot of respect for what you do. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have 16421, an ordinance amending the City of Fitchburg zoning bylaw in accordance with its provisions as outlined in the enclosed ordinance. This is the first reading, and this is a slate of clerical edits that we already approved. This is just the ordinance form of it. I know Mr. Skrowski is here. If any councilors have questions on this.
Move to send to second reading?
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second. Yes, first reading, actually, Councilor.
Oh, move to send to first reading. Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. And this is a 2/3 vote, so Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Counselor Van Hazinga.
Yes.
Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
President Zarella.
Yes.
Counselor Boishman.
Yes.
Counselor Kuchar.
Yes.
Counselor Di Natale.
Yes.
Counselor Fleming.
Yes.
Counselor Green.
Yes.
Counselor Hughes.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
Yes.
Counselor Squalia.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Thank you. We have petition 16521, Councilors Marcus Di Natale, Marisa Fleming, and Bernard Schultz to amend City Council Rule 3.5 by removing unanimous consent and inserting in its place by simple majority vote of the City Council, which shall be recorded by roll call. That will be sent to Legislative Affairs.
Move 16621 through 16821 be sent to their respective committees, leaving out 16921.
Second.
All right. If there is no objection, we'll just do that by unanimous consent. All right, it is done. 16921, I'm sorry, Councilor Boishman?
On 169-21, I'd like to give it leave to withdraw.
Second.
It needs to be sent to committee first unless there's a motion to suspend the rules.
May I suspend the rules on 169-21?
I'll second that.
All right, I have a motion and second for suspension of the rules. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Counselor Van Hazinga.
No.
Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
President Zarella.
No.
Counselor Boishman.
Yes.
Counselor Kuchar.
Yes.
Counselor Di Natale.
Yes.
Counselor Fleming.
Yes.
Counselor Green.
No.
Counselor Hughes.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
No.
Counselor Squalia.
Aye.
The motion is defeated 7-4.
Move 16920 be sent to council as a whole.
That would also require a suspension of the rules.
Motion for suspension of the rules.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and second. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll?
Counselor Van Hazinga.
No.
Counselor Walsh.
No.
President Zarella.
No.
Counselor Boishman.
Yes.
Counselor Kucher.
Yes.
Counselor Di Natale.
Yes.
Counselor Fleming.
Yes.
Counselor Green.
No.
Counselor Hughes.
Yes.
Counselor Schultz.
No.
Counselor Squalia.
Aye.
That is 6 yeses to 5 noes.
Motion is defeated. The matter will be forwarded to Legislative Affairs. All right, and now we have a special presentation from Mary Delaney and AJ Terigny, the City Hall Building Committee and Project Team's final report.
I can't be in
Good evening, councilors. As chair of the City Hall Building Committee, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to present the final report of the Building Committee. I'd like to begin by recognizing fellow committee members, AJ Terigny, Tom Skorowski, Bill McSheehy, Ellen DiGeronimo, Jay Bry, Tom Donnelly, Michael Kuchmerek, Bill Esposito, Lenny Laxo, and Mark Barbadoro. In January of 2018, the City Council voted to fund the renovation of City Hall and former bank building, now our legislative building. Under the careful guidance of the owners, project managers, colliers, project leaders, the city embarked on designing what would become a City Hall for all, with our architects, Icon Architecture. And by the end of 2018, the project team was complete when we added Bond Building as CM at risk. The city broke ground in April of 2019 with an aggressive schedule and a promise to be back on Main Street by the end of 2020. In March of 2020, the team found themselves working through a situation completely unanticipated, the COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to recognize our OPM, Tony DeLuzio, and the on-site team from Bond, Pam Bailey and Jerry Hammersley, for keeping the City Hall project moving during the pandemic when many other public and private projects shut down. The Bond team literally invented protocols and procedures to respond to the ever-changing early days of COVID, and many of those protocols have become industry standards. In addition, the team worked hard to minimize the financial impact of new COVID protocol and to maintain a schedule, all while keeping workers safe on site. The council supported additional funds to the project as well. In true Fitchburg style, everyone toughed it out, and on December 14th, 2020, just 2 weeks shy of the year end, staff moved from Boulder Drive into the administrative building at 718 Main Street. It seems like yesterday that the building committee met for the first time, having no meeting room and working in borrowed space to begin this journey. I'm happy to say that the building committee took our final votes in the East Meeting Room at 718 Main Street, and that's why I'm here this evening. In a unanimous vote on August 19th, the Building Committee accepted the final budget report to bring the project to its conclusion in the coming months. With this action, the Building Committee recognized an excess balance achieved by careful use of contingencies and a commitment to strong financial oversight, and voted unanimously to recommend that $450,000 be returned to the city as excess to the project. This action reflects the commitment of the Building Committee and the project team to see the project through on schedule and on budget, even while working through a global pandemic and unforeseen circumstances during demolition. The Building Committee is pleased to offer this good news to the council and to the taxpayers of Fitchburg. We're proud to have been part of making this vision a reality and to contribute to the rich history of City Hall. On behalf of the Building Committee, I thank Mayor Di Natale for putting his trust in us and giving us the opportunity to serve. And I express our appreciation to the City Council for your support throughout the process and for allowing me to present our report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Any, AJ, did you have something to add?
Thank you.
Anything any counselors would like to add? One moment, Mayor.
Thank you, okay.
Counselor Gianatolli?
Thank you. So the project cost was initially $23.5 million, and then we voted for a $600,000 free cash appropriation to make it $24.1. So of that $600,000, we're getting $450 back.
Right.
So technically, the project, from the initial estimate several years ago, went over by $150,000. And my question is, that 150, as part of that 600, is that was entirely attributable to the pandemic impacts, correct?
So we spent about $156,000 in COVID expenses.
So what I wanted to point out to the public is, if you extract a pandemic that no one saw coming when we planned this out in 2017, we were right on budget. And that is important to point out for the public, because when they think of municipal, state, or federal projects of a capital nature, they immediately think big dig. They immediately think, you said 23.5, it's probably going to cost 40. It's probably going to cost 35. So we're taking a victory lap here, because typically government does not manage, schedule, and cost efficiently on capital projects. So what we sold to the taxpayers 4 or 5 years ago is what we hit outside of the pandemic. And even with the pandemic, it came in at 0.006 above the initial estimate.
Correct.
But again, if you take the pandemic out of it, we're right on the target.
Yes, Councilor.
Which is very impressive.
Thank you. And there's a couple of people in the room I would like to recognize for that, because it was the hard work and efforts of Mayor Gianatolli, Mr. Calvin Brooks sitting right behind us, Mary Delaney, and our OPM for really crunching those numbers to make sure, the endless phone calls to make sure during construction that we could return as many dollars that we could back to the city.
So it's a great news story. And because there are several people, and there's a contingent in this city that was just dying for you two to tell us that we overran by $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. That's the news they want to hear, but they're not going to get it. So we've kind of ruined the year for them here. So I'm very pleased to hear this, that we actually did what we said we were going to do, which is very rare in governmental capital budgeting. So I'm pleased as Chair of Finance to see this. And I'm interested to know now what we're going to do with the $450 that's being returned to us. I know I have some suggestions for the Chief Executive Officer, who I will speak to at a later date. Thank you.
Why is everyone looking at me?
Councilor Boschman.
I got one question. We sat at a meeting up on Memorial at around Christmas time, and if I'm not mistaken, I thought they said, and I remember cracking a joke about it, that there was Christmas on Main Street, that they were under budget by over $1 million at that particular time. Because I remember cracking the joke and everybody started laughing, and I said that the mayor, whatever happened there, was that because of COVID? Because they said they were $1 million under budget at that time, at Christmas time.
So I think that at that presentation, if I recall correctly, we were talking about how much was encumbered towards the project. And I think the way it was presented may have been a bit misunderstood by certain people, that we had $1 million extra in the budget. We had $1 million that we were waiting for future encumbrances to come along.
Oh, okay.
Which is how the CM at risk process works. So you kind of, you do certain amount of work and then you encumber further money and you keep encumbering until you come to the end and you get your contingencies back at the end.
Okay. The only reason why I asked you that, because I remember them saying, oh, we get back $6 million. What a Christmas gift. And everybody started laughing, but it was $1 million. I remember that. All right. Thank you.
Councilor Hughes?
Yes. I want to say to Mrs. Delaney and Mr. Terigny, thank you so much for taking the lead and ensuring that this project came to pass as diligent as you did, and working as hard as you did with the team, making sure that it come under the expected amount of funds. So I want to thank you so much on behalf of the city for your commitment. I know some that's saying we didn't need it, but City Hall the old building was done. It was done. And we need a place as a city where we operate and where we can operate efficiently. And I want to thank you for taking the leadership to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Schultz.
Yeah, I just want to thank all the committee members, the ones that aren't here as well, for their service to the city, because we have two beautiful buildings to be proud of. Thank you.
And I'd also like to say I've been thrilled with the way this has gone. This was literally the first political issue that I spoke publicly on in the city of Fitchburg before I was even elected. And I've been passionate about it all the way through, and it turned out exactly as great as I had hoped it would, better even. This is a huge success for the city and a huge success for all of you who put the work in to make it happen. So thank you. And if there are no further comments from councilors, Mr. Mayor, I know you had wanted to say a few words. to
Thank you,
close us
Mr.
out.
President. I just want to say that, you know, Mary, you presenting tonight is certainly appropriate, beyond appropriate, given people, we have to understand, councilors and the viewing public, her shop, the procurement office, that shop is extraordinarily busy. She always points out to me that we are just above and beyond what some cities are in terms of the amount of work that's going through that shop. So this was being done at the same time that she was maintaining her staff and her the work coming out of her shop. So just a huge impact on this project. She had experience, Mary had experience in Gardner with the police station, and it was well utilized in this project as well. We're very fortunate. And if anybody's concerned or questioning why we did what we did, right now we can report over $200 million in investment that's in the pipeline on Main Street. This is our commitment to Main Street. Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our business this evening. One announcement, Local Cultural Council Open Studios, Saturday and Sunday, September 25th and 26th. More info on Facebook. Can I have a motion, Councilor Schultz?
I just have one announcement. I have a Ward 1 meeting Monday, September 13th at 6:30, and it's going to be at the Central Fire Station in the community room if anyone is interested. I'd like to see you all there. Thank you.
Thank you, and I believe you had emailed that to me. I apologize for not getting it on the agenda.
Motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and second to adjourn. If there is no objection, we are adjourned.